Hi everyone, myself Prazi. Welcome back to my channel Commerce Class. Today's video is about theories of dividend policy. Theory of relevance and theory of irrelevance are explained here. Residual approach, Modigliani and Miller approach are the major irrelevance theory. Walters approach and Gordon approach are relevance theory. Part of profit of a company which is distributed among its shareholder is known as dividend. It is the reward of shareholders. Usually, investors expect maximum return from their investments. If company pays out the entire amount of profit to the shareholders in the form of dividend, they have to depend upon the outside resources like long-term loan and debenture for business requirements and future expansion. Dividend policy of the firm affects both long-term financing and wealth of shareholders. Dividend is the reward or it is the right of shareholders. So reasonable amount or fair amount of profit must be distributed to the shareholders. But at the same time, they should retain certain percentage of profit for its growth and survival. So dividend policy means decision about percentage of profit retained in the organization for growth and survival and percentage of profit distributed to the shareholders in the form of dividend. Dividend decision and valuation of firm. According to one school of thought, dividend decision does not affect shareholders' wealth and valuation of firm. Others says that dividend decision affects shareholders' wealth and valuation of firm. First, we will discuss about the irrelevance concept of dividend. It is also known as theory of irrelevance. This school of thought is associated with Solomon, Modigliani, and Miller. According to them, dividend policy has no effect on market price of shares and value of firm. Here, dividend decision or dividend policy is irrelevant. Residual approach and Modigliani and Miller approach are some of the important theories of irrelevance. First one, residual approach. Residual theory says that dividend decision has no effect on wealth of the shareholders. Here, dividend policy is irrelevant. Dividend decision is just a part of financing decision. Investors do not differentiate dividend and retention of profit. If firm has profitable investment opportunity, they will retain the profit and invest that profit in that investment opportunity. If firm is not in a condition to find profitable investment opportunity, they will distribute entire profit to the shareholders in the form of dividend. So, residual approach says that a firm should retain the earnings if it has profitable investment opportunity, otherwise it should pay them as dividend. Then second theory, Modigliani and Miller approach. It is also known as model. Modigliani and Miller argued that dividend decision is irrelevant. Retention ratio or dividend payout ratio does not affect value of firm. A company decided to distribute entire profit to the shareholders in the form of dividend, but that company has profitable investment opportunity. So here, company should depend external sources like shares and debentures to invest in that investment opportunity. If they issues debenture, they have to pay interest to the debenture holders, and if they depend on long-term loans, they have to pay large amount of interest to the financial institution. If they issue shares, and that will increases number of shares, and these all result a decline in earning per share. Authors of relevance theory argued that dividend policy affects value of firm. If a company distribute dividend to the shareholders, that increases market value of shares and firm can maximize its value. But Modigliani and Miller says that if that firm distribute profit as dividend, they have to depend on external sources for its future needs. That reduces earning per share, and advantage of dividend decision is offset by fall in earning per share. Whatever a shareholder gains on account of dividend payment is neutralized completely by fall in market price of shares due to decline in expected future earning per share. Then assumption of approach. This approach is based on certain assumptions. First one, there are perfect capital market. Second one, investors behave rationally. Third one, information about company is available. Fourth one, there is no flotation and transaction cost. Fifth one, no investor is large enough to affect market price of shares. The next one, there is either no tax or there are no difference in tax rate applicable to dividend and capital gain. Next one, firm has rigid investment policy. Last one, there is no risk and uncertainty in regard to future of the firm. Mathematical proof of approach. P0 is equal to D1 plus P1 divided by 1 plus KE. P0 is equal to market price at the beginning of the period. D1 is dividend to be received at the end of the year. P1 is market price at the end of the period. KE is cost of equity. Then P1 is equal to P0 into 1 plus KE minus D1. Then value is equal to N plus M into P1. Then V is value of firm, N is number of shares outstanding at the beginning of the period, then P1 is market price at the end of the period, M is number of shares to be issued. Then M is equal to I minus E minus N into D1 divided by P1. M is equal to number of shares to be issued, I is equal to investment required, E is equal to expected earnings, N is equal to number of shares outstanding at the beginning of the period, D1 is equal to dividend to be paid at the end of the year, and P1 is equal to market price at the end of the period. Some of the criticisms of this theory. Perfect capital market does not exist in reality. This perfect capital market is a myth. In reality, we can't find perfect capital market. Then flotation cost is there while issuing shares. The next one, transaction cost is also there while selling shares. Transaction cost are brokerage, then other charges, etc. And these costs are there while selling these shares. Tax do exist, and capital gain are taxed at a lower rate than dividend income. Approach states that there is no difference between capital gain and dividend income, but capital gain is taxed at a lower rate than dividend income. Most of the shareholders prefer current income rather than future capital gain. Firm need not follow fixed investment policy. Next one is theory of relevance. The advocates of the school of thoughts include Gordon, John Linder, James Walter, and Richardson. According to this theory, dividend decision is relevant. Those firms which pay higher dividend will have greater value as compared to those which do not pay dividend or have a lower dividend payout ratio. Some of the important relevance theories are Walter approach and Gordon approach. Walter's approach. Walter's approach says that dividend decisions are relevant and that affect value of firm. The relationship between internal rate of return earned by the firm and cost of capital is very significant in determining the dividend policy. Walter's model is based on the relationship between return on investment and cost of capital. If R is greater than K, R means rate of return and K is cost of capital. If rate of return is greater than cost of capital, such firm is known as growth firm. Here, firm should retain its earnings, and here payout ratio, dividend payout ratio is 0, and that maximizes value of firm. If rate of return is less than cost of capital, such firm is known as declining firm, and firm won't retain any profit. It distribute the entire profit to its shareholders, and here retention ratio is 0 and payout ratio is 100%. That maximizes the value of firm. If R is equal to K, the dividend policy will not affect market value of shares, and shareholder will get same return from the firm as expected by them. There is no optimum dividend payout, and value of firm would not change with the change in dividend rate. Assumptions of Walter model. The investments of the firm are financed through retained earnings only, and firm does not use external source of fund. The second one, internal rate of return R and cost of capital K of the firm are constant. R and K are constant here. Then third one, earnings and dividend do not change while determining value. The firm has very long life. Then formula. P is equal to D plus R by KE into E minus D divided by KE. P is equal to market price per share, D is equal to dividend per share, R is equal to internal rate of return, KE is equal to cost of equity capital, E is equal to earning per share. Then criticisms of Walter model. Walter model says that firm uses only retained earnings for financing and never uses external funds. But it is not true. Certain cases, firm has to depend on external sources like debt capital and shares. Internal rate of return R is not always constant. With increased investment, the rate of return also changes. Cost of capital K will remain constant, also does not hold good. Firm's risk pattern does not remain constant. Cost of capital will change due to the changes in risk factor. Next one, Gordon's model. Gordon's model is somewhat same as Walter's approach. Mr. Gordon introduced two models. That is Gordon's basic valuation model and Gordon's revised model. Basic valuation model. According to Gordon, the market value of share is equal to the present value of future infinite stream of dividend. If rate of return is greater than cost of capital, such firms are known as growth firms, and these firms retain the profit or retain their earnings and invest these funds in some profitable investment opportunities. Here, they distribute a smaller dividend and retain maximum earnings. If rate of return is less than cost of capital, such firms are known as declined firms and they distribute entire earnings to the equity shareholders in the form of dividend. Here dividend payout ratio is 100%. The declining firm can maximize its value by distributing entire earnings to the shareholders in the form of dividend, because here rate of return is less than cost of capital. If rate of return is equal to cost of capital, such firms are known as normal firms and price per share remains unchanged and not affected by dividend policy. Assumptions of Gordon's model. First one, the firm is an all-equity firm. Second one, retained earnings are the only source of financing the investment programs. And third one, rate of return on firm's investment, that is R is constant. Then growth rate of firm, G is growth rate and G is the product of its retention ratio and rate of return. Retention ratio is B, then rate of return is R. So G is equal to B into R. The next one, cost of capital is constant. It is more than growth rate. So cost of capital K is constant and it is always more than G. Then firm has long-term life. Last one is corporate tax does not exist. Formula. P0 is equal to D1 divided by KE minus G, or P0 is equal to E into I minus B divided by KE minus BR. P0 is current market price. Then E is earning per share. B is retention ratio. D1 is expected dividend at the end of the year. KE is cost of equity capital. BR is equal to G. Gordon's revised model. Mr. Gordon revised his basic valuation model and consider risk and uncertainty in his new model. And this new model is also known as bird in hand theory. He suggested that when R is equal to K, dividend policy affect value of firm. In his basic valuation model, when R is equal to K, a dividend decision is irrelevant. But in this theory, revised model, when R is equal to K, dividend decision is relevant and dividend decision affect value of firm because uncertainty is there. And investors are rational and they always try to avoid risk. Future is uncertain. We can't predict future and we can't predict future dividend. And there is no guarantee for this future dividend. So a rational investor always prefer near dividend than future dividend. And value of dividend income is more than value of capital gain. These are some of the theories of dividend policy. Please subscribe my channel and share my videos. Thanks for watching my channel. Bye.